I'm going to really focus on one thing that I see a lot of businesses doing the wrong way. So it seems like year is starting out. By the way, guys, Jose and Timothy, if you prefer to see live stream because I got a presentation, if you prefer to see instead of just hearing what I gotta say, well, I would advise you guys to actually go on YouTube because YouTube is live right now. What's up, YouTube? Today, subject of today's episode of Marketing Commandos. First, welcome to this episode of Marketing Commandos. Remember, we do this every day at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our friends in Europe. That's my time, 2 p.m. But anyway, we still do it, whatever happens. Now, today's episode, guys, I'm going to talk about the number one reason why nobody is buying your stuff. So it may be pretty hard to hear. Maybe you don't want to hear it. Maybe you didn't want to hear the truth. But your boy Gabriel gotta say it because, guys, sometimes I see huge mistakes that you can avoid. And if you're able to not do them, or if you're able to make changes, readjust, can dramatically see results immediately. And that's what we're going to work on today. So for those who don't know me, maybe on YouTube, you don't know me, you're seeing me for the first time, I'm the founder of Julihey Media and Julihey Productions, making sure you get as many customers as you can possibly handle for as long as you can. So now, my name is Gabriel, by the way. We're going to go back to the subject of today's episode, the number one reason why nobody is buying your stuff. And we're going to go deep into that. So if you're excited, make sure that you subscribe to the show, pick somebody into the room if you're on Clubhouse, or make sure that you put that on the calendar because every day at every Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do the Marketing Commandos show on a specific aspect of marketing that can dramatically change your business. Now, let's go into the first part of today's episode. And guys, here is what marketing gurus don't want you to know about making money. Guys, that bothered me for the longest time. Whenever I was trying to learn marketing, whenever I was trying to make it, to understand how I can serve my customers the best, I really struggled for a long time. And I was extremely frustrated. Well, what happened was I was going on that journey to understand, okay, what are the best ways that I can deliver results to my client? How can I do that? How can I be the best and help out my customers the best I can possibly do? And one of the things that I really struggled was having the right information because we're in the information age. We can have whatever we want, whenever we want. Type on Google, you can find the answer. The only problem with that is that everybody can put out some information and it can be good or it can be really, really bad. And 95% of the time, it's extremely bad. And I was in that with those guys that weren't sharing great information. And by great information, I mean specifically, and I've got something against those guys, but even though that's the correct way to do things, but I get it, but I got something against those guys. So sorry if you fall into that category, but I think my commandos don't fall into that. But what I really struggled with, connecting with, were the guys that told you, oh, this is the new method, this is the thing that's working right now, go use it. They make a course on it, they drive a ton of traffic on it, and oops, a few months later, algorithm changes, and now it doesn't work anymore. And all of a sudden, those guys disappears with the method that they just created a few months ago. And that frustrated me so much, like you cannot even imagine, because look at me, I'm just trying to understand, okay, what were the ins and outs of marketing, just trying to understand the whole game. And you're here, you get into something, you're like, oh yes, you take some time to learn about it, to implement it, make it work for you. And then you're like, fuck it, it doesn't work anymore. What's the point? You understand what I mean, guys? You understand why this is so frustrating? I was in so much angry against those guys. But anyway, ultimately I was like, okay, I'm not going to go talk to those guys anymore, and I'm going to focus more on the real guys, the gurus. That I don't like to say the word guru, but you understand me, the leaders, the guys, the experts of these niches of marketing, selling, and all those things. And that's whenever I found out the real guys, the guys that were making real money, not selling a course on the side and making a few bucks, but the guys that were making millions and millions and sometimes billions of dollars, whether they're alive or dead. I saw that the same strategies applied. And that was strange because I thought that, man, I gotta master the algorithm or do some tricky thing on Google or Facebook to make it work for my business. But when you think about it, some people made it work with just newspapers. And if you try to pay for a newspaper ad right now, hope you got a big bank account because you're going to be in for a treat. But the thing is, those guys still made it work. And I was like, man, how can it work? Because those guys were telling me, oh, Facebook ads is the only way because it's cheap. But in my head, I realized that, man, like those guys were paying like billion more times in advertising costs than you, still made it work and made a ton of money. So what's the trick? What's the strategy? And I realized something. I realized things that those guys, those marketing gurus that were coming in and getting out, they didn't want you to know those things that I'm going to share with you right now, because if you understand those things, you don't need to know the fresh thing of the moment, because the principles I'm going to share with you are going to work forever. They worked 100 years ago and they still work today. And those guys don't want you to know that, because if not, what's the meaning of having like a cool trick of the moment? You know what I mean? The hype thing. So I'm going to share with you those things that really opened my eyes and really helped me to understand what is marketing, how it works, and how every businesses can get as many customers as they are able to get today if they do the right things. Number one thing that you got to understand is that you got to start to understand first, that marketing and selling are two extremely different things. Extremely different. They are different, like differently positioned in the sales funnel. Whenever you're looking at marketing, people are just like, okay, like you put a funnel, you get conversions. But the thing is, when you look at it like that way, you forget a big aspect of marketing, that is to create a bridge with your customer when they don't know you. Marketing is prior to selling. Listen to this. Marketing is prior to selling. What does that mean? The marketing that you're going to make is going to be the bridge to the sales page that you got. And you got to understand the thing. A sales funnel, like a sales page, this isn't marketing, really. It's selling. It's just selling on the internet. Same thing as if you were in real life. Let's take, for example, let's take a car dealership, for example. The prospectors are doing the paper ads they are doing. Those things are the things that are driving traffic. Those are the marketing means they are using. But the selling happens when the people are like, okay, I'm aware of them. I'm going to go to the dealership. And then from there, the selling happens. But you got to understand that those are two different things, two extremely different things. And if you don't understand that, you're going to use them wrong, because those are two strategies that have two different goals, very distinct. And you got to understand that first thing first. And second thing, if you understand that, you're able to understand the second thing I'm going to talk about to you guys. If the system is broken, you got to look at the step before that. So what does that mean? If your sales are broken, maybe it's not the fact that you're not good at selling. Maybe it is, but I would advise you to look at the step before that in your sales process first. Okay, maybe I'm not driving enough traffic. Maybe my bridge to those guys, maybe my ad is not working. Maybe the thing I'm saying on this live episode, maybe this podcast interview does not create a bridge that's solid enough for them to actually go check me out and generate a sale. So always check the step before that, because you got to understand that if, for example, you work your sale in a certain way, the closing gets easy if you do it correctly. But if you do not do the steps before that the right way, what's going to happen is ultimately the closing is going to be impossible, or at best extremely hard. So you got to make sure those steps before the final step, the close, are done correctly. And you got to understand one thing, guys. I think I told it already, but marketing is prior to selling. Doesn't mean it's more important. Like, I know a lot of sales guys are like, oh no, you got to close the deal. Yes, I'm with you guys. I'm with you. I understand. I'm with you guys. Prior doesn't mean better. It just means, as I just told you, it comes before selling. Do you understand? Coming before means that you got to make sure it's set it up the right way, because if it's set it up the right way, what's going to happen exactly? Well, what's going to happen is that, guys, you're going to close more deals, because if the bridges that you set up with the customers when they discover you, or when you reach out to them after some amount of time, if the bridge is strong enough, then the close is easy, extremely easy. So you got to make sure that you understand that marketing is prior to selling. And if you understand that, you're able to shift your mindset and focus on, okay, how can I create a great bridge? How can I create a great marketing piece that's going to make the sale ultimately easier? Do you guys like what I just shared with you? If so, share this podcast episode with somebody that's interested in learning more things like that, because we're not done, guys. This is just the first step of today's episode. Next, we're going to go into Q&As, frequently asked questions that I see a lot of people are asking, and I'm pretty sure that you guys have the same ones. And I'm going to answer those right now to make sure that you don't have those concerns anymore. Question number one that I see people frequently asking. I'm going to share my screen so you can actually see the question. That's way better. How can I use marketing to make more sales? How can I use marketing to make more sales, guys? Well, the easy answer is drive traffic. But the more direct, like the more profound answer is that you got to understand that marketing comes before selling, meaning that you got to set up your marketing the right way before actually going to the sale. Because if you do not have the great bridge with people when they come to you, what's going to happen is that the sale is you're going to have a lot of added work when you're going to try to sell them. So make sure that your marketing is set up the right way. That's the beginning of the funnel. Imagine a sales funnel, okay? The beginning is your marketing, then it comes to sales and ultimately the close. But if your marketing isn't set up the right way, the steps before that are going to be, first, you're going to have less people. Second, it's going to be way, way, way harder for you to actually make them go to the next step again, because it wasn't fluid in the beginning. Second question I see people frequently ask. Is marketing more important than sales? No. Like the quick answer is no, guys. Like it's a system, and that's one of the things I realized when I was studying marketing. All those guys were like, "This is the best thing." No, that's the best thing. No, this is the ultimate thing you gotta learn. And ultimately, I was like, man, all those things are important, and you gotta make sure that you're able to understand the strategic overview, seeing the machine, and be like, okay, this piece is working as well, this is working, and all those things together are creating an excellent, great results. So nothing is more important than the other ones. You got to make sure the whole system is working together. That's the most important aspect that you got to understand before trying to make one thing excellent. Make sure that everything is working together. Now, next question. Question number 3. What's the best marketing strategy? Well, I'm going to do the classical marketer answer. It depends. It depends on your business. But the thing is, I see a lot of businesses asking, hey, Gabriel, like this doesn't work for me because I'm this, because I sell this, because I don't do things that way, because I don't sell information products, for example. I don't know. People always try to find a reason to not do something. But I would advise you to shift the mindset. Before it goes to like, oh, I can do that because, like, shut the fuck up. Little slap on the face. Turn back. And ask yourself first, how can I apply it for myself? And you will see all of a sudden you get some ideas, because all the processes, marketing strategies can be applied in your business. You just have to have an open mind to see how to apply it first. I can give you the best strategies, but most people don't apply them. And that's the problem. So make sure you find ways to apply it instead of ways to not do it. That's the most important. If you guys like what I just shared with you, make sure that you share this episode with somebody that needs to hear this. Now, we're going to go into, I'm going to invite you on the stage, Timothy, at the end. That's a section I reserve for questions and answers. So we're going to make sure we do that at the end. No problem. And stay on the room and we'll get at you in a few minutes. Promise you, brother. Now, we're going to the next section of today's episode. The top 3 quick and easy ways to increase sales without working more deals. Do you imagine like being able to not work more deals, not being like working day in and day out to close more deals and actually making more money? Well, there is a way to do that. There are 3 quick and easy ways that you can apply right now. And if you follow those ways, you will be able to get more sales without working more time. If that's something that you would like to hear, make sure that you stay tuned, guys. Make sure that you stay in there, because I'm going to share with you some bombs. Now, what you got to understand is that for the longest time, I really saw the problem of And that's a great thing. You got to work some deals. You got to like put some energy in, because that's a free way to get whatever you want in business. But one of the things that I quickly realized was the fact that, man, like if I don't work, the machine is not working. And that's really a problem. And I really struggled for a long time to see how can, like, do I have to work like this all my life? Do I have to like hustle all like this all my freaking life? I didn't want to do that. Nobody does. And the thing is, after some point, I realized, man, there are some systems, some interesting ways that you can advertise. You can set up sales funnels and all things like that that can actually make you kind of like pretty much generate things on automatic. And I liked that. And I'm going to share with you those ways, those things that you can set up, set in stone things that you can set up right now in your funnels, in whatever you are doing. And if you're applying those strategies, those will be set in stone, and you can put them on automatic and actually get more sales without actually working more deals. So I'm going to share with you those quick 3 easy ways right now. So number 1 way is to create the offer of the century. Like when I mean that is that, guys, one of the reasons nobody is not buying your stuff, one of the reasons is because like the thing that you're selling isn't sexy enough. Nobody wants to buy your thing. Nobody wants to buy it. Why? Because it doesn't make sense enough to give up the thing that you want them to give you, which is oftentimes money. But it applies in all your life. Like the price, the thing they have to get has to be so ridiculously valuable that they will pay whatever they have to get it. If you get to that level of offer, if you get to that level, you will be able to sell way more stuff, because, guys, there is a difference between selling a product, and I talk about that often, selling a product and selling an offer. This isn't the same thing. A product is a singular thing, a commodity that you are battling with other people. Let's say you're doing online marketing, because I see we have online marketers on the clubhouse right now. If you're trying to go on a product-to-product basis, what's going to happen is that you're going to go in competition with a ton of people that are doing the same thing as you do. And what's going to happen ultimately is that, okay, like this guy is doing the same thing as the other one. I'm just going to go for the cheapest that gives the same result, basically. And then what happens oftentimes is that you have like a war to the bottom, which means that everybody is trying to win the other one on price, and like you cut in your profit margins, and you are freaking miserable because you don't have any money left for yourself. And that's not a way of living. But you got guys that are doing things in another way. They build offers, and offers are multiple products bundled together. And those things are extremely interesting for a specific reason, because you are able to create way more value, a unique solution to your prospects, and that separates yourself from the competition. Plus, because you have more value packed into that same, ultimately you want to give the same results. You do it better with like more things and more options to do it for them. And ultimately you can charge more. So that differentiates yourself from the competition. Plus you can charge more for your products. And if you do it correctly, you can even do even less work than that if you set it up correctly. But the thing is, whenever you're able to create offers that are extremely attractive, you get more clients, you're able to differentiate yourself, and you get able, even if you get more clients, to charge more. And that's extremely cool. Second way that's extremely important that you got to use if you want to get more sales without marking more deals. And if you guys are interested, like if you guys like what I'm sharing with you right now, make sure that you share the room with somebody, because it's like, it's not finished. I'm going to share with you some things that you won't believe. Tip number 2, get better at one-to-many selling. Like for real. Like I'm going real serious right now. Listen to me, guys. I love the fact that we are able to negotiate a deal with one person, understand the needs, closing the deal. That's extremely great. And that's a skill that you need to have. But the problem with that one is that you're only able to close one person at a time. And I know some people in a time of one presentation to one person can make a presentation to 9,000 people. And instead of making $3,000, they make 3.2 million. And that's a real life example. That's something that definitely happened. I realized it was extremely important to learn one-to-many selling whenever I was watching GrowthCon. I don't know if you guys know Grant Cardone, but he has like one of the biggest events in the industry about business, where he invites like a ton of celebrities and businessmen and girls. So I was in that event and I saw this guy called Russell Brunson. And I was like, okay, interesting. Like he's doing his presentation, like 3 secrets and all that. I just watched his presentation. And what happened when I heard how much he made, how much money he made at the end of this presentation in 1 hour and a half, the man made $3.2 million. He basically broke a world record of the most paid speaker in the history, I think. So I was like, that's pretty good. Like I'm prospecting cold calling for 1 hour and 30 minutes, and this guy is making 3.2 million. Like there is something there, you know. So I understood like there was something that I was missing. So the thing is, with one-to-many selling, it's actually extremely interesting that you're able to compress time and sell much more in such a small amount of time. So that's extremely important that you got to understand how to do that, because it will save a lot of time. You can automate it. That's one of the great things, because one-to-many selling, like selling on stage, it's pretty much the same thing as selling on a video or selling on a webinar or selling on a live stream like I'm doing right now. That's pretty much the same way to do it. So if you're able to do that, that opens a huge opportunity for your business to sell more in a less amount of time. And you can even automate it, which is the cool part. Now, tip number 3 that I got for you guys is to throw more hooks. Did you went fishing sometimes? Did you went fishing at some point? Can you understand with me, even if you didn't went fishing at some point, that if you have more baits out, more hooks out into the sea, you have a higher chances to actually get a fish? Can you follow me on this point? Do you understand me, even if you never went fishing? That's exactly the same thing with your marketing. The more hooks you are selling, things to grab the attention, to capture your customers, the more you're sending those into the sea of prospects that you are having, the higher the chances for you to get as many fish, as many prospects, as many customers as possible. So you gotta send more hooks. But what are hooks in marketing, Gabriel? Well, hooks are headlines. They are images that grab the attention of people. Like, you know, when you're scrolling on Instagram, on Facebook, and you have that like, pow, and you see that, and you're like, oh, that stops me. What's this? Let's check it out. Those things, you're gonna have like as many of them as possible, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, testing which one is working the best, which bait is better for which fish. So you can like, okay, target like, okay, I want to target those specific customers. I'm going to throw that bait because I know that bait, because I tested it, is working better. But the thing is, you got to throw a ton of hooks. And when I say a ton, I mean like 10 times more than what you're thinking. And when I say hooks, it can be anything. It's something that grabs the attention and make them listen to your sales pitch. And what's actually interesting, if you look back to the 3 points that we just talked about, we've got hooks, we've got the sales parts, and we've got the offers. Those are the 3 main parts of any sales pitch, whatever is the platform that you're using, whether you're doing a live presentation, even like a one-on-one call, it's pretty much the same thing. You grab their attention, you sell them on the opportunity, and then you close them with a great offer. And you got to have those three components working together. That's what I always say. Like, I always say, like, having the machine, like the whole system working together. You gotta have great hooks, which means that you gotta grab their attention with like, hey man, this is amazing, man, this is going to change your life, man. Like you gotta find a way to grab their attention. Stories, like, bam, I'm in your face. I'm here and I'm grabbing your attention. In their feed, wherever they are. Grabbing more of those customers with those hooks. Second thing, whenever you have their attention, you gotta be good at one-to-many selling. In the situation, if you are selling in a webinar, on the internet or on stage, you gotta grab their attention and you gotta sell them on the opportunity that you're going to give them. And then your offer has to be excellent. Because if you sell them like, yeah, man, I see the value, I see that's a great thing, but your offer is like, man, you won't get as many sales. So you gotta have those 3 components figured out so you can get as many sales as possible. Plus, guys, I got a little bonus tip for you, because you always know that your boy Gabriel always likes to give you some great stuff. And the bonus tip that I got for you is to understand that one-to-many selling is the way for you to grow a business super fast. Like if you wanna if you want to grow your business incredibly fast, you have two ways to scale your business. Like you can scale it like by working more and like you're getting better, so you can see the revenue that's growing slowly. But if you're able to understand how to sell one to many, plus you're able to do it like really well, oftentimes, and drive traffic to that, man, like all of a sudden, like you grow like 100,000 times faster. There are success stories like of people that made millions in just a few months because they understood how to go with one to many selling. You cannot really do that, or at least it's extremely hard. It has for you for much more effort to do that one-to-one selling, which is excellent because it's a great opportunity to generate business by yourself. But if you're able to generate business by yourself, but with more people at a time, making more sales in one time, that's better. So you got to understand that one-to-many selling is the way for you to grow your business. You guys are with me? Are you with me? If so, make sure that you share the live stream with somebody because, guys, we're not finished. Right now is actually the time that you're going to get the most value out of today's episode. So make sure, guys, that you stay until the end because I got something that's extremely, extremely good for you. And right now, guys, I'm going to go into a step-by-step process on how you can make more sales without actually selling. Does that sound intriguing to you? That's the goal. A hook. You see what a hook is? How to make more sales without actually selling. A hook's you like, oh, what's that? I want to know more. Curiosity. That's a great hook. Now, you gotta understand one thing. If you want to make more money without selling, you gotta know the things I'm going to share with you right now. And those are the following things. I'm just going to introduce the subject for the guys on YouTube. How to make more sales without actually selling. When I thought like, that remembers me of a story. When I thought like how to, I'm doing a lot of working out for those who know. And I always thought I was good at squatting. I was like, man, I can go and do like 120 kilograms squatting. Like I feel like a freaking machine, you know. But I had always that back pain. And I was like, oh, you know, like it's normal to do that. And I was like, oh, I know everything about this. And one day I nearly broke my back when I tried to do 148 kilograms. So that's in pounds, maybe around the lines of maybe 300, like 300 pounds, I think, something along those lines. And I tried this and I nearly broke my back. Like you see me like folding in half. Fortunately, I'm still here and I've got no problem since then. But after this event, like my uncle, which were like really good and involved in bodybuilding for most of his life, is like, man, like this is just doing that thing. You just got to do that thing. I was like, well, that's easier than I thought. And that made me realize something. The fact that whenever you got people that's already experienced a ton of things, they went through the difficult things and learned all those things, you got to just model what they're doing. And whenever you're able to model those things that are working for them, are you following me, guys? If I'm able to model the things that are already working, that people already tested out, failed at, succeeded at, and they're already doing those things, if I just implement the same things they're doing right now, I'm going to save a lot of time, trial and error, money, resources in general, to actually benefit and go faster, you know what I mean? So that's exactly what we're looking to do here. So I'm going to share with you that, how to make more sales without actually selling. There are multiple steps and we're going to follow what I just shared with you at this second. Step number one is that you got to go look at leaders in your industry that are doing what they're doing for marketing. So it depends on your industry, but let's say you're into internet marketing. You are, okay, like my goal is to get more customers to businesses. How can I do that? Well, one of the best things that you got to do first is that you got to go check out the leaders of your industry. Check out what they're doing, how they're structuring their offers, what hooks are they sending, how are they selling? Because they already had to figure out and test, okay, what message works the best, what hooks works the best, what is the offers that works the best, what resonates with people, what kind of stories, emotions, what triggers, what pains do you want to use? They already had to learn all those things to make it work for them. So you just gotta model what they're doing. Now be aware, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to tell you copy what they're doing. Copying is illegal and it's unethical. And marketing commandos, business commandos don't do that. What we do is that we model what they're doing. So modeling is, for example, you see an email that's working. You see an email, and that's something that you should do. Subscribe to all the newsletters and things that resonate with you, they work. So screenshot them, put them on a file. Like whenever you're trying to build a sales message, you go back to that file and like, oh, those are files of things that worked on me or on other people. And I'm going to use that to create my sales message. Don't start with a blank page. That's the principles of swipe files, but I'm digressing. You go and you see that thing that is working on you. Okay, now your goal is to reverse engineer what is working. Is it the fonts that are working with you? Is it the hook? What grabbed your attention? What is the wording? What is the word that grabbed your attention? And reverse engineer everything that's happening and reuse that into your own marketing message. They're just reverse engineering. For example, like if you see a sales page that's working really great, you say, okay, like I'm not going to copy and paste the video and the things, the stories that they got. I'm just going to say, okay, there is an headline here, there's a video, an order form here, then testimonials. Okay, I'm going to do the same formats. Then you can go even deeper. Like, why is that headline working? Oh, because they use that word and they focused on that pain. They talk to that audience. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing, not with the same words, but reverse engineering those principles and seeing what's working and what's not. And then you basically use model, reverse engineer, and put it into your own stuff. That's step number one. Now, when you go on step number two, that's actually what I just told you. You got to reverse engineer the hooks, sales message, and offers. We talked about this. We talked about the fact that there are three things that you got to know and that you need to make them great in every sales message. The hook, the story, so meaning what you're selling, and the offer. You got to have those three pieces working together. If not, the machine is not going to produce the final results that you want. So you got to have those things. You're going to have a great hook, something that grabs your attention. That's, I would say, all of them are important, but put more attention on your hooks. More attention on the hooks. Because think about it. If you do not hook the attention of the person that you want to hook, they're not going to check out your sales message, even if it's extremely good. And they're not going to check out your incredible offer because you don't got their attentions. So what you got to do instead is that you got to focus on the hook. Oftentimes what I do is that I spend 50% to 80% of my time on hooks, like for example, headlines. If I'm writing a sales copy, I spend 50 to 80% of my time on making sure it's a great hook. Because, and I'm sure this is the same thing with you guys, like I'm pretty much sure I can ask you, and I'm sure you'd never, like pretty much never, like 99% of the time, you never read an entire sales copy. You just read like the headline, then maybe you watch the video and then you take a decision. Or maybe you watch the headline, maybe a few more bullet points, testimonials to be sure, and then you take action, but you never read the entire sales copy. So the hooks is the most important thing. Focus on that priority. And then one of the things that you need to do, step number 3 of this process. So yes, you should model, but also you should apply it with your own secret sauce. So what does that mean? And it goes back to 2 principles, not copying, so meaning that you have your personality as well. So you got to make sure it shows itself in the copy that you're doing. For example, let's say you see that leader and you're modeling a person that's really blunt and really like direct. And maybe you're like not reserved, but more subtle in the way you deliver things. Maybe you're like more, I don't like the word nice, but you get my point. And you do not like have to copy their tone, because if you do, it's going to sound strange for you and strange for your audience, because they don't feel like it's the same person they're talking to, because they see you in 2 different scenarios and they see like, oh, like this is a totally different person. I don't believe him or her. So you got to make sure you have your own secret sauce, your personality to the copy, to the sales message that you got, to the offers, to the hooks again. And also it follows the other principles that you got to always be testing. That's the second thing I wanted to talk about in that point, because yes, processes are working and things like that are working. And the thing is that you got to start with that. So you copy, you reverse engineer the processes, and you start from there. Now, what you got to do is that's your base. That's your control. From there, you got to see and test out different things that maybe work better. And that's the way to improve, because you got to always be testing in marketing. Always, like, maybe you heard of split testing or A/B testing. That's exactly that thing. Exactly that thing. Always be testing, like, okay, is this headline going to work better? No, okay, we're going to get back to the control. Oh, this actually worked better. We're going to use that instead. You got to always test one variable at a time, because if not, you cannot see what's actually made a difference. So, for example, you get 2 sales pages. Try different headlines on those sales pages, and you only test the headline. Maybe you try another time to, okay, like, we keep that headline, but this time we're going to test out the bullet points. Okay, let's test out the bullet points then, but only one variable at a time. So you take the base that you reverse engineer, and from there, you go back and you test out new things. Does that sound logical for you guys? Did you understand what I said to you right now? Well, if you did, and if you want to go further in depth, I got a guide. Check out the Commandos Weekly Action Plan. That's a framework that I generate every week on the topics that we're talking today about. So today I talked about the process of reverse engineering and how to apply it with your own source. Well, I'm going to put out a little page on the internet that you can go in and actually have a checklist, having more detailed steps on how you should do that, where you should actually do more detailed steps on how you can apply this strategy. And instead, it works for 1 week, meaning that right now it has the one from last week. But each week I change it depending on the topic of today's episode. So if you want to have a detailed step-by-step process, because as I talked to you guys previously, if you do not implement the strategies that I'm talking to you about, what is the meaning of what we're doing right now? Like, you are like, oh yes, I'm smarter, but hey, you didn't apply the things. So make sure that you do apply this. Click the link that's on the Clubhouse. Click the link, gabrieljulié.com/action plan, gabrieljulié.com/action plan. Check it out. It's totally free. You just put it out, and now we'll give you access to the weekly action plan. So you can apply the things that we talk about, because it's the most important things. You guys like what I just shared with you? Well, if so, we're going to go over a quick recap of what we just talked about, and then we're going to go in Q&A session with our members on Clubhouse, because I see some people are raising hands. So if you have questions, anything you want to talk about, guys, make sure that you go into the Clubhouse room and raise your hand. I'm going to put you on stage at the end, and I'm going to answer your questions, whatever they are. So be ready to do that. So let's quickly recap what we just talked about today. Number 1, marketing is prior to selling. Doesn't mean it's more important, but it means it comes before that. So if you see a problems in sales, if you see like, okay, like, we do not close a lot of deals right now, oftentimes maybe it's in the sales, like the sales process, but it's oftentimes over it. It's oftentimes, okay, it's the marketing part of the funnel that's broken. So always check one step before that and see, okay, is something broken in the system right before it? That's the thing that you got to go and you got to understand. Number 2 thing that we can remember from today's episode, you got to use systems that are already proven to work. Don't, like, for the love of God, don't go and out there and start with a blank page. Always try to go and see, okay, what are the processes, the strategies that people are already using that are already working, and you go from there. Don't go from blank page, because people already took years, tons of money, millions of dollars, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours to understand what's working. Just go from the same base as them and then try to improve from there. Don't go with a blank page. That's just plain stupid. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's going to help you a lot to save a lot of time and money. Third thing that you got to understand from today's episode, you got to stop working hard and work smart. Now, I'm one of the first advocates to say you got to work smart, or at least, work hard. But you got to understand that if you're not able to work hard, well, you cannot work smart, because you can work smart, but you're not going to actually work. But if you're able to work smart first, and then over that, add some smarts, like, okay, I now understand how to do things better. I now understand how to optimize that. You're going to get way, way, way better results. Start working out first, and then when you understand the concepts, optimize, get better results, and make sure you work smart. And you don't stay into the fact that you got to be obligated to work all your freaking life doing the same things to make it work, because you're not going to be able to sustain that. Now, guys, Make sure that you check out the action plan of this week, gabrieljulié.com/action plan. And right now, I'm going to welcome on stage our people. We have a few questions. I'm going to invite to speak Timothée because he raised his hand. What's up, brother? I'm going just a second. I'm going to put out the sound so everybody can hear you. Do you have a question, my friend Timothée? Any questions?
Hello, Gabriel. Hello, YouTube. Yeah, it was awesome presentation.
Well, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that you found it interesting. Do you have any questions about what we talked about today?
Yes. When you put and share emails to the customers, prospects, about the hooks. What exactly? Okay, you put a hook, a title. What about the action? The actions in the email. Make it clear. You have to make only information or action plan.
I see that.
Click to schedule goals.
I see that. So one of the best tips I can give you in order to make sure your emails convert, and that works if you are prospecting like cold emailing, or even if you are sending an email to a newsletter, for example, that works the same way. People do this mistake a lot. They're trying to sell the product that's after they click the link. And that's a big mistake. What you got to sell when you are in the email is that you got to sell the click. And whenever they get onto the next page, you got to sell the thing that's on this page. So for example, let's say you are selling, in your situation, you're sending emails to businesses and you're asking for a meeting. What you don't sell the meeting. Don't sell the meeting. Sell the click to the email. Because if you're selling, the thing is, you got to understand that you don't have to sell the product. That's what I mean. Don't sell the product, sell the meeting. Meaning that, okay, you're not like, oh, we do these incredible things. We share those results. Yes, you should have big claims, but don't be like, okay, our product does this and that, because they don't even know you. What you got to sell in the email is like, okay, we're going to take some time in the meeting to share with you how we can get those results. And they are going to have to go into the meeting to find it out. Meaning the hook needs to have curiosity. So you have curiosity that, oh, man, I need to check out and make a meeting with that guy because he has a solution, but I don't know what it is. I got to make a meeting with him. But if they know, okay, like there's a product he's selling and like, not interested, they're not going to go and make a meeting with you. So sell the meeting, add some curiosity to make them like, okay, I got to have and check out this meeting. And from there, in the meeting, then you sell the product. But don't make that mistake of selling what's on the next step of your sales process. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It's like cold psychology, right?
Exactly similar. On a cold call, you do not sell your products. First, you sell the meeting, the time to actually, hey, I'm going to share with you how you can double your sales in the next 3 months. But it's not like, hey, like buy my products. Like my products is good. It's like, hey, I'm going to go in a meeting and show you how you can do that. And that's in the meeting that you sell the thing. So don't make the mistake of selling what's on the next step of your sales process. Make sure that you get and understand that, okay, this step, you're selling just the next step. And that's a step-by-step process. Don't go and like sell the things that's two steps further. Is that okay with you, Timothée?
Great.
No problem. So, I think we're done for today, because now we got some other meetings, other things, other people to talk to. So thanks a lot, guys, for participating. Thanks a lot for the guys on the Clubhouse one. I really appreciate the support and the participation. Thank you guys on YouTube as well. Let's not forget you guys, because we are also making this on YouTube. Remember, we do these episodes of Marketing Commandos every Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we talk about the best ways for you to grow your business with marketing. So make sure that you stay tuned, share the room with somebody, share the live stream with somebody, and check out the link, gabrieljulié.com/action plan to get your weekly action plan that we'll upload soon on the website. See you guys on the next week. Be great.